Good evening, everybody. So welcome. This is exciting to have a bunch of you on here, and we'll be having a few more most likely. So be aware. I'm Gina Ruby. I'm a certified health coach. I've been a health coach for over 10 years, and I'm a global director with my business. And it really is my passion to help people create the healthiest version of themselves. It's different from person to person to person, but it's pretty exciting to kind of put our health back as a priority and really create that healthy person that we are. And tonight, it's going to be about 30 minutes, and I want to cover, as you saw on my little invite, triggers. Because triggers, we're all susceptible to them. Doesn't matter if someone's at a healthy weight or they're on their journey. Triggers happen for a variety of reasons. So we're going to talk about what are triggers, why they even happen, and how we can either overcome them or really minimize them. So the what, the why, and then the how, to give you some practical tips and tools to take with you whatever you're doing and wherever you are in your healthy journey. I'm a super practical person, and I like visuals. So my husband and I are in our 50s. We're both 53. And there's this weird thing when people hit their 50s, they like sports cars. Like they buy red Corvettes or whatever, right? So for my husband's birthday, I bought him a sports car. And here is his sports car.
Oh,
Close up, right?
that's
So
funny.
do not say I never bought him a sports car. And I'm going to use this for our visual tonight because really I want to help get you in the driver's seat. See, there's a little driver's seat right there. So much of the time in our life, whether it's relationships or health and wellness or business, we're over here in the passenger seat and we're letting someone else or something else drive us. And many times it's driving us right off the cliff. So I want to make sure that first of all, we get out of the passenger side, shut that door, and get in the driver's seat. So with triggers, it's really, really important for you to get into the driver's seat and stay, because as you know, sugar and salt and fat and emotions can just kind of, derail you. So we're going to talk real quickly on what are triggers. And triggers can be events. They can be emotions, happy, glad, sad, mad. I'm happy, I'm going to celebrate and eat, a cake. I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm going to go eat 3 bags of chips. Or it's, every day at 5 o'clock, I have my 2 glasses of wine. There's all these different triggers that happen, and they're autopilot because our brain can't think of every single thing every single second. We breathe automatically. We get in our cars and all of a sudden we've driven 5 or 10 miles and we're like, wow, how'd I get here? Because we're thinking of our to-dos, or we're putting on our makeup, or we're reading our, Siri or whatever. So the brain has a way of just kind of keeping things on autopilot. And I have a little tray here. So it goes over the same road every day. Oh yeah, I want to eat donuts, crash and burn, right? Oh yeah, he ticked me off. I'm going to go have 5 scoops of ice cream, crash and burn. I want to help us stay on the straight and narrow and go towards our goal. But the reason that happens is, a lot of people think, well, I'm not smart enough to change my habits. I'm not strong enough to change my habits, or I don't have the willpower. And willpower doesn't exist. There's nothing about willpower that's going to help you through any of these tough times. I call it skill power. We got to develop the skills that are going to get you on a different path. And so when you consistently go over the same road, it's like a country road, a dirt road, it gets little ruts. And it's really easy for that car to stay on those ruts. And it actually kind of grabs it into those ruts, right? And doesn't want to let you out. So the way we're going to create a new path, it's not easy, but it does take, it takes some discipline, but you're going to get some really good ideas on how to create that new path. So triggers happen with patterns. They happen because of autopilot, and we're gonna break some of those patterns today. So before I go into some of my strategies and my tools and my tricks to help you get out of that rut, that literal rut, to create a new path, we have Tammy here. She's one of my health coaches on my team. More importantly, she's lost over 160 pounds.
Wow.
She did that in about a year. And she's going to share a trigger of hers I texted her earlier today and she's like, I have many. So we're all in good company. Okay. So no judgment. We all got our triggers. She's going to share one and she's going to share a couple tips and tools on how she manages those triggers. So Tammy, take it away.
Well, hello, everybody. I started the program in January of 2014, and I knew immediately that my husband and I were going to be taking a trip at spring break. That was only 3 months away. And so I asked Gina what I was going to do, and she helped me talk through some things. But the one thing that I didn't think about talking to her about was a huge trigger of mine, and that is being in a car. When my husband and I were 350 plus pounds, we would be in a car and grab a bag of M&Ms. Not the snack size bag, not the share 'em size bag, but the type that you get for a party. And by the end of our trip, that bag would be gone. We'd also have all sorts of other things. And so what I've learned, and my first time through for that particular trip, I took celery, and I figured, well, I know I'm only supposed to have 3 stalks of celery, but I'm still just going to take celery. And I took an entire thing of celery and cut it all up into small sizes and would snack on it. And I was so incredibly uncomfortable at the end of that trip because that's too much fiber for a person's body. And it was several hours, and it just was just too much fiber. And I learned that I needed to do something differently. But when I signed up with Gina, there was a program called Stop, Challenge, Choose, and it was fairly new, if I understand correctly, Gina. It was something that you actually had to pay for me to go on, is what you told me later. I didn't realize that at the time, but I went on this. It was a 12-week transformation, and we were encouraged to stop before you just absent-mindedly put something in your mouth. Stop. Challenge yourself with, what is my why? Why do I want to lose this weight? Why do I want to get healthy? And then make the right choice. And sometimes, yeah, you might make the wrong choice, knowing what that's going to mean. It's going to throw you out of fat burning for 3 or 4 days. It's going to do whatever. I don't recommend it, because I'll tell you, it's not a lot of fun to do that. You end up with probably a week that it puts you behind. But sometimes you make that choice. We're human beings and we make that choice. But the trigger, as far as being in the car, what I've learned is that if I can keep my conversations going, or if I can keep a book on tape and then not purchase the stuff, just not have it. I remember one of the things that I learned on the transformation was it doesn't start at the dinner table, or the couch when you're at night and you've got cookies in your hand and you're eating them. That's not when it started. It started when you clipped the coupon for the cookies, and you put that coupon in your purse, and then you took your purse to the store, and then you searched out and found those cookies, and you bought those cookies. And so I found that for me in the car, that's the one trigger that I thought I'd share with you. The one trigger was just not purchase things. If I always have something in the car, because if I don't have something like celery or something like that, or cucumbers, if I don't have something, then I will inevitably find a gas station and stop and buy something. But I try really hard not to feed that, and I try to think ahead of time about what would be healthy for me to actually eat and to take it with me. And I also, the other thing that I do that really helps me in the car is that instead of taking bars for my MetaFast meals for the day, I take crunchers so that they last longer. So just those are the things that I found for me.
Yeah, and if I was thinking, I should have had a picture of Tammy's before and after, because she started at about 323 pounds, and now you're
328. Oh, down to 148.
Wow. So down to 148. She's what, more than or less than half the size you are, however you say that. You're just a mere shadow of what you were before. So super duper proud of Tammy. She's an inspiration to her clients. And I'm telling you, when she started January of 2014, If I had said to her, yeah, you're going to lose 150 pounds this year, she would have kicked me into the highway and said, no way. So we just took it in increments. You take it in 10-pound increments or 15-pound increments. You just take it moment by moment, day by day, week by week, and the accumulation of those healthy habits are going to create the results you want. Same with the accumulation of unhealthy habits gets you to a place you don't want to be. So that's why we're talking about how to, tool up and armor up on these tools and strategies. And Tammy and I mentioned too, a spiritual component is a big part of our life. And for her, God is really, really important. And that was another one of your tools in your tool bucket, right, Tammy?
It was. I definitely have to, even today, I still have to make a conscious effort to ask the Lord to help me, because I feel that within myself, I still want to eat. It's who I've been for 52 years, and I just want to eat. And I know that I should be craving my faith in the Lord instead as a stronger thing, and know that the only way that I can continue to be who I need to be for him and for my grandchildren who I've gotten since I started this process, and a mom and a wife for my husband, and all those things, that it's just very important. And I know that.
Yeah. It takes a village. That's why a lot of people, they isolate themselves and they close themselves out, and then they just kind of spiral farther and farther down. So Tammy and I and Jesse and Shane, we're all coaches on here, and we're all like, text us, give us the SOS if we need to kind of talk you off the ledge of making a decision you're not going to be happy with later. So it really helps having that accountability, that trust, that camaraderie. So I'm going to mention one of the tools Tammy talked about is the Stop, Challenge, Choose. And am I on your guys' screen, like a big screen right now? Okay, so I'm going to put this up. Stop, Challenge, SCC, Stop, Challenge, Choose. And then underneath says Stop, Challenge, Choose. So when you're in the midst of your temptation, like I've got to have the chocolate fountain at the wedding, I've got to have those cookies, or there's ice cream in my freezer for my kids, but I just want a scoop. It's not going to kill anybody. But you're trying to create healthy habits, right? That's when you stop. Like Tammy said, take 3 deep breaths. I would say just take 3 deep breaths. And like really deep belly breaths, because it gets some oxygen to the brain. And it also stops your momentum of going like, crazy person to whatever thing that's going to sabotage you. So you stop, take 3 deep breaths. You challenge yourself. If you're by yourself, have this conversation out loud and just say, okay, self, if I go ahead and cave and have that, am I going to get closer to my goal or farther? And if people are around, then have that conversation in your head so they don't think you're Looney Tunes. You have to really have that conversation, because we do so much stuff mindless, right? We'll eat a handful of M&Ms and go, why did I just eat that? So you have to make it a conscious conversation. And then you choose. You choose the choice that's going to take you to your goal. Because remember, it's all about keeping you in the driver's seat. You're much more valuable than a Lamborghini or a Rolls Royce or a Bentley or a Hummer. Your health is the most valuable thing in your life. And so we want to keep you steering that car towards your goal rather than going off the cliff and then having to get back up in in your car and steering off the cliff again. So Stop, Challenge, Choose. The other thing is, and I was telling Tammy's group of clients this, is to write your 3 reasons. Your 3 top reasons. I'm saying yes to. Number 1, these are some options. I'm going to put this back here. Play with my kids or play with my grandkids. Decrease meds or decrease joint pain. This is a biggie. Wear the clothes in my closet. I can't tell you how many clients we have that they have 2 pair of pants left in their closet that are elastic waist, and that's all they got. The rest of their closet, 3/4 of their closet, is stuff too small. And I'm an advocate of let's get you to a healthy weight. Maybe you're not a size 4 anymore and you're really a size 6. But if you're size 14 or 18 and you're like, I know I'm not supposed to be this size because I can see the extra stuff all over the place. We want to get you back to a healthy weight. And for the most part, it helps people finally get back into the size of clothes that's in their closet. And that's a lot of money in clothes. So you want to there's times where people go, well, I can't afford to eat healthy food because it's more expensive at the grocery store, and I get free food at my teacher's lounge, I get free food at the office, people bring me food. But if it's high caloric, high fat, high sugar, high sodium, high starch, all that, there's a price somewhere. Might be free today, but it takes residence on your body. You're super gluing the donuts to one thigh and super gluing the 2 bags of chips on the other thigh. There's a price to pay. And we want to help people create the health that they want today, because whatever choices we're making today, we pay those consequences 10, 20, 30 years down the road. So setting ourselves up healthy now is going to set us up at a healthier place down the road. Doesn't mean there's not going to be some weird things that might happen, but at least we'll be in a healthier place than if we hadn't done it, right? So Stop, Challenge, Choose is one tool. Know your 3 reasons and post these everywhere: your car, your fridge, your bathroom, your purse, your bedroom, your office drawer, because trust me, someone's going to bring in freshly baked cinnamon rolls with delicious frosting, and you're going to be like, oh, how can I say no? Well, this is why I can say no, because I'm saying yes to this, right? Instead of yes to the dress, yes to your healthy food. And then some other healthy habits you can do is drink water. I always recommend drink 10 ounces of water at the end of every hour. You set your cell phone at 7 a.m., when you get up, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., all the way till 6 p.m. If you drink 8 to 10 ounces every hour throughout the day through evening, you'll get your 64 ounces in. That minimizes hunger big time. Many times when people are hungry, they're actually dehydrated. And so they're hungry or they have that lull, they go for the Coke, they go for the Frappuccino, they go for the Snickers, and that spikes their blood sugars and crashes. Then another sugar beverage, spike, crash, spike, crash. And you don't want to be spiking your blood sugars and all that every day, every hour. And then low glycemic foods. So low glycemic is just like low sugar, very satiating foods, lean proteins, lots of veggies, more veggies than fruit, always. Fruit is basically nature's candy. So a little bit of fruit is fine, but we should have the lion's share of our plate, our 9-inch plate, half of it needs to be veggies. There's enough sugar, natural sugars that you're going to get in the veggies that you don't need to be eating, apples and strawberries and watermelon and oranges and pineapple. I mean, pineapple is really, really dense with sugar. I love pineapple. So the water and low glycemic eating is going to help satiate your body so that you won't be craving. If your body is satiated, so it means it's full, it's not going to be as likely to want those tempting foods than if you're hungry. Because when you're hungry, the body's like, give me any calorie because I'm starving and I don't give, a hoot. And you don't want to get to that point because that's when the car goes off the cliff. Let me see if there's any others that I skipped. We talked about water, minimize cravings. And it's nice to minimize the cravings because they're not always just physical cravings. They're also emotional and mental cravings. If there's something in your life that you've done every day and that, I have 1 glass of wine every day at 5 o'clock. A lot of my clients have that here. Or every night I've had 3 scoops of ice cream because it's what my mom and I did when I was a kid. There's some things that just have a really beautiful heart connection. And that's where you have to realize, you know what? It worked for me then, but I'm going to create a new habit that has other joy attached or other meaning attached to it that's not sugar. And when you go to events, whether it's kids events, church events, business events, really make it about the fellowship and not the food. And more of our clients are going, wow, what a concept. I was having conversations with people and actually more meaningful conversations than just stuffing my face full of all the food there because there was, all you could eat buffet. So the fellowship focus rather than food focused. So does anybody, what?
Can I add something to that?
Yes, Jessie.
So the other thing too, I was talking to a client today and she realized that she sometimes will eat out of boredom. And she also noticed that when she got to work, that would spike up her anxiety, which would then cause her to eat something. So there's certain needs that we're meeting by using food as that vehicle. So as we dialed it in, it's like, okay, if you're bored, what can you do instead of food? So like you said, drink water. And what I encouraged her to do is she has some people she loves and care about, some nieces, nephews. I said, just carry a little mini journal. It could be small, like just a small little journal. And in those moments of boredom, just write down, something, maybe a letter to your, daughter, or, what you love about them that you can tell them later. Again, just to meet that need for connection. And the next thing you know, the time's going to pass and you're going to be able to now either eat or you're going to get on with work or whatever. But there's something that triggers you. Write out about it. What am I feeling? Am I really hungry? That's another question, because sometimes we are not even hungry, but we're just conditioned to use food as a vehicle to soothe.
And many times when we're watching TV, we're bored, so we're eating chips, eating popcorn, eating chips and salsa. I mean, we consume hundreds and thousands of mindless calories. So when we're telling the brain, no, we're not going to eat for boredom, like Jessie said, you have to have something the brain's saying yes to, because it doesn't want to be out in limbo land. Like, wow, she said no to that, but I got nothing to turn to. I'm going to go back to what I know, my default. So with boredom, love the idea of writing in a journal. If someone's that bored, I mean, I can't imagine being that bored, but if someone is, then write 3 notes of appreciation. I share that with my clients all the time. They're like, I just want my, Doritos. I'm like, okay, every time you feel that, go sit down, take your deep breaths, have that conversation, and write 2 or 3 appreciation notes to a friend, a relative, a coworker. And now it changes that whole energy of I've got to eat to, wow, I want to help make someone else's day special. And that works because it creates
it outside of you.
Yeah. Take it outside of your obsession of I got to have it to giving to others. And a craving can last up to 20 minutes. So 20 minutes can be an eternity for some people. So you got to have something to put in its place and occupy your brain, and then do something productive with that time, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. And I don't know if you guys ever watched Caesar Milan. He's the dog whisperer. But he's all about when dogs get in a frenzy, like, oh, I want to bite them, or I want to like jump all over them. He just kind of goes, he like does a little into their shoulder blade to knock their brain out of the frenzy to like, okay, back to the present and to a calm state rather than this high anxiety. So with our clients, that little having 4 or 5 things in their tool belt, like Tammy said, she pre-planned. She took celery with her. She takes cucumbers with her. You can, take a little baggie of almonds with you, something that's going to add to your nutritional value rather than take away from it. And have those things where, gosh, food isn't the all-consuming thing anymore. It's about what are my goals, what are my hopes, my dreams, my aspirations, and I deserve it. I deserve to be at the healthiest version of myself. And how can I share that blessing with other people?
And I have to say, I have to just honor Tammy for what she said, which I loved, and I wrote it down, is I need to crave the Lord like I crave food, which I thought was awesome. That's really, really cool. And, whatever it is for you, if it's not the Lord, what else? I crave my commitment to my body, or I crave being able to have the energy to chase my children around, or whatever. Find something to fill that.
Yeah, or I crave helping make someone else's day. And what a cool craving. I mean, you can have those cravings all day long, because even if we helped 100 people, there's 100 more people to help. And it's really helping us get out of that rut and think of new creative ways. And then once you're used to kind of pioneering that new road, you're going to be really amazed at other things that you think of. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I can go walk dogs at the Humane Society. If I'm that bored, people always need volunteers. They need people reading to the kids in the cancer ward. And they need people, shoveling and cleaning out dog stuff at different shelters, or go feed the homeless. I mean, there's so many things that we can do to be an extension of ourselves to others, that the food just becomes secondary. It really becomes fuel for my day, so I can go be the best version of myself and live my God-given purpose on a daily basis. So I hope that encourages all of you to really, whatever you've done in the past, you know, that road has been forged and now we're making a new road. And we're doing this together. So it's not like someone has to just be out in the jungle weed whacking like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. You have a village of people, especially, you know, with the coaches here and the clients here. And I'm so stoked that Nancy joined. She goes to my church and she's been wanting, you know, she's a ballerina and she has, as cute and petite as she is, you know, we're over 50 and there's some of that belly stuff happening. So I hope that was helpful for you, Nancy, on just fine tuning and tweaking on a daily basis. So in review, what are triggers? Could be events, emotions, times of the day. Why do they happen? We have that pattern in our brain and we're making new patterns. And you have a multiple tools in your tool bucket now with stop, challenge, choose, write down your 3 reasons, drink your water, eat low glycemic meals or foods every couple hours, and then really practice gratitude and think about what your purpose is in the world and focus on that and live that on a daily basis. So any last questions? We have like 3 minutes. So, and we have a lot of new clients on here. Do any of you have any questions? And no question is a dumb question. So any questions from you all? A bunch of shy people.
And your questions serve others that might have the same question.
Yeah. So you guys, let's see, Carla and Jennifer joined. And we have another Amy. Which Amy is that?
My team.
Yay!
She's my Amy.
You're Amy. I have an Amy. You have an Amy. And they're in the same row on my computer.
Any words of encouragement that you guys want? I mean, anything. We're here for you. We have a couple minutes.
Yeah. And what's a takeaway? What's one thing that you feel like you can apply to your day today or starting tomorrow? Amy Craig, what is one thing that you can apply from this day? Because she's a single mom. She has a lot of stuff going on. So what's one takeaway?
Well, I wrote down a bunch of stuff. I think for me, I've got, like Tammy, I have about 130 more to go. And for me, when I kind of focus on that 130 pounds, like it almost makes me want to go eat, just thinking about that much, you know? So I wrote down the lose it in 10-pound or 20-pound increments is what I wrote down. I wrote down tons of things. And I'm going to post my reasons everywhere. So I've got a couple of takeaways.
Good. Your reasons are your roadmap to keep this car going forward, because I promise you there's going to be things that want to suck it sideways, and those reasons are like a little turbo engine to keep you going forward.
And also the gratitude piece, I think, is really important. Like there's so many times, like when you look at that number and you think it's so big and so far out, like, you know, we have the option to look at that or the option to just give thanks in advance for the fact that we met our goal this month, right? So just like really putting the energy toward the accomplishment already being there, already being at our fingertips. And so that sends a different energy, and it also uplifts rather than kind of weighs you down. So just giving thanks, I'm going to meet my goal. I've got this, right?
Yep. And Amy Craig, how many pounds have you released so far? You're on mute.
Okay, so from my heaviest, I'm down about 40 pounds now. So
I know.
It works if you do it, Gina.
Yay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good. All right, and Carla, you're down how many pounds? Oops, she's on mute.
3 pounds. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, I'm 3 pounds from 50 pounds.
Woo! I love that. 3 pounds from 50. It's fun to say 50. So good job. We are so proud of all of you and super duper proud that you made a commitment in your evening to even be here. So thank you. I know people are very, very busy, and I always value and appreciate the fact that you would show up and that you're interested in learning and that you share with others. So thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Jessie.
Bye.
And thank you for
Bye.
See you. Have a great evening.